Oh, I'd like 2 eggs over hard.
What is up, everybody? Welcome here to Pop Culture Philosophers. In particular, welcome to PCP Movie Night here on a Monday night at 8 p.m. Central Time. We're doing this every Monday now, bringing back the movie Monday magic and other alliterative things like that. But I'm very excited tonight, y'all, because we're talking about the 1993 movie. You know the one I'm talking about. It was a big tentpole movie. Everybody was excited for. Lots of marketing money and power behind it. It was dinosaur themed. What was it called? It was Super Mario Brothers. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And so you can't talk about Super Mario without Superman. Well, it's many different perspectives.
Station. Dude, it's alliteration all over the place. Rockin, Robbie, Manuel, Mike Matthews, Brooks Billingston, which I assume is his last name. It's going to be amazing.
This is Brooks Brooksington, actually.
Oh, Brooksington. That makes way more sense.
Absolutely. Speaking of the maniacal one himself, it's Mike. What's up, my man?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
It's going well, man.
Good.
Especially after revisiting this movie, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, fun. Man. But we can't talk about it without the man, the myth, the legend, the Mario Master Mutant Magnetism Mushroom King. It is Brooks. Station. Pop, boom.
How dare you guys go around like spreading my real last name? My totally real last name.
What's up, everybody in the chat? We appreciate you being here. We got Juan, we got Eric, we got JT. Let's see, we got Verno. Verno was going to join us today, but he could not find this one to stream or to buy or rent or anything. You have to like get the DVD or the Blu-rays online. You got to get physical media for this one because they're ashamed of it. What's up, Albert? What's up, GT? Hell yeah, everybody. Station, thanks for joining us. This movie came out in 1993. A little bit of backstory. Obviously, Super Mario Brothers, huge movie. You know, this is not. I always, in my head, I always thought it was 1990. Right? I said it last night. I was like, was it like 1990 or something? Nah, man, it's 93. So like this came out 2 weeks before Jurassic Park. So we can understand why this movie kind of got buried, right? Because it's not a faithful adaptation of the game, which not that there's a lot to go with there, but this is a weird, interesting sci-fi movie that they just put like references to the Mario games in, and it's the most random references, the most random pulls. Like, we'll use a bomb. Why? That like literally doesn't fit in the movie. It's so weird. It's such a weird stretch. But a lot of different writers. A lot of the actors signed on to this film when the script was a little bit more witty, and it had a lot of different writers. And one of the writers was Ed Solomon, who we know as co-creator of Station. So hats off to Ed Solomon. But Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel were the directors, and they were the creators of Max Headroom. And knowing that, a lot of the movie starts making sense, including the way Dennis Hopper's Koopa looks. Straight up Max Headroom, like straight up. And I did not realize this until today. And I haven't seen it, but there is a post-credits scene in this damn film that I had no clue about. Like, just found out about that. But anyway, I remember being a kid, being pumped for this movie. I remember being really kind of confused, but Masters of the Universe, to me, Batman, because it was so different than like the Adam West show and the cartoons and stuff, it felt darker. I was like, this is what they do with these kind of things. They try to make it darker or something. So like, I just kind of accepted it, and I watched it all the damn time. Like, I really liked it. It was a constant rental. When it was available on DVD, I bought it, and I still have that copy. It's what I lent Brooks so that he could watch it. But I liked it, but I haven't seen this movie in almost like 20 years probably, right? So revisiting it, I was really surprised with how much I still like this film, even though it is a terrible film where the directors, it has been said that they were the most hated film directors ever. Like, the cast and crew hated them. Like, they didn't like working together, and just, it was a troublesome shoot. Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, we've heard the stories. They were drunk while they were making it, taking shots of scotch in between takes and shit. So I think it's made something interesting, though. So I'm really interested to hear what everybody has to say. Manny, what's up, man? What you think?
Dude, I love this movie. My uncle took me to see it in the theaters. And like you, I thought I was way younger. Like, I have no excuse for how much I loved this movie at the age in which I saw it. But I did. I loved it. And I guess it didn't. I knew that this didn't feel like the game, but the game is just randomly running through environments. Like, this is just as much. This could be the story of Mario just as much as any of the video games, because there's no story to it. I don't know why he's running. He could easily be running from dinosaurs. Who knows? So it was. I don't know. I really loved it. I had it on VHS. We'd watch it all the time. I don't think any kid I knew growing up, I don't know of any that thought this is a bad movie. But if you go online, that's all anyone says, how horrible this film is. But I don't remember anyone when I was a kid not liking this thing at all. So I don't know. I loved it.
I remember people not liking it. I remember people being, I remember having discussions like at lunch, in school, like, did you see that Mario movie? What was that? Like, and I don't know, man. In those days, I was so like naive about things, and I just was joyous. Like 1993, I'm like 12 years old, right? And like, we don't have, we had Batman and Superman, but we didn't have like what we have today, right?
Was TMNT out when this movie?
TMNT was out because that was 90. We had Dick Tracy, and so like they just kind of fit in that mold where it was felt darker and grittier, and I don't know. It's so weird how they try to explain shit. Like somebody's like, hey, they jump real high, so they got to jump. You're like, okay, well, what if we give them these like jet powered boots and they're powered by bullet bills and they're called thwomps? Like, okay, sure.
Why not a mushroom for that too? By the way, like, why not like a little mushroom? Why's it got to be a bullet bill? They must have had like a certain amount of Easter eggs they had to fit in, and like,
yeah,
where are we gonna put a bullet
bill?
Well,
one interesting thing, and I think Jamie pointed this one out that I never thought of, and I don't know if they thought of this either, but when they're saved, when they're falling to their death, right? Because their world is just Dinohatten, which I think that's clever. Manhattan, Dinohatten.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I think the Cinemassacre guy said something like, if this was just a movie called Dinohatten and there was no like Mario stuff in it, like this would be a cult film. Like,
absolutely.
And it is a cult film. There's a huge following for it. Apparently I found out that there's this whole fandom where they made a comic book sequel. Like, and I'm like, cause I want to read that, we got Superman 78, we got Batman 89. Why can't we get a Super Mario Brothers 93? Where was I going at? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Mike, what do you think about the movie?
So, I guess it's 7th or 8th grade, maybe. I can't remember. I have to do the math. But everybody, a lot of people I knew did not like this movie. And I didn't wait. And they're like, don't waste your time. It's terrible. It's nothing to do with Mario at all. And it was just negative review. So I never watched it. And then, like, years later, I was like, I think I'll watch it. And then never did. And I've caught bits and pieces of it on, like, Fox and TBS and TNT and just random movie channel. And I never saw it all the way through, but I saw bits and pieces. So this is my first time to sit down and watch it all the way through from start to finish. So
Really?
yeah.
What'd you think?
I thought it was fun. It's a very dark movie, but then again, like I said, I was thinking today, like, okay, it's 1993. How would you make a Mario movie like the video game? And it would be animated. That's the only way you could do it, was animated. If you want to do it just like the video game, because there's no, I just don't think there was enough practical effects around for that. So, I mean, there might have been, but it would have been way more expensive to make a video game. So, but then again, like, Batman was out and it was super dark. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was out. It was super dark. Bits of feels a little bit like Blade Runner and RoboCop. You know,
It's got the same art design as it's the same like art designer as Blade Runner.
Gotcha.
Yeah, which you could tell, like 100%. It looks great. The sets and everything look fantastic, I think.
Absolutely.
So you liked it, Mike. You enjoyed it.
Yes, I did.
You found yourself rather forgiving of its loose adaptation.
Well, I was gonna say, like, younger Mike would have not like older Mike appreciates it for what it is. Younger Mike would have been like this is not. I'm playing the video game. Like, where's my Mario? Like, where's, like, this is no. I would have hated it in my youth.
Gotcha. Speaking of hated it in my youth, what's up, Brooks? What'd you think about this movie, man, on the revisit? And what did you watch this back in the day? I'm sure.
Yeah. I remember I rented it when it came out. As soon as it came on video, like, because we didn't go to see movies in the theaters very often. So usually when I saw a new movie, it'd be a rental. And I remember as a kid, you know, I thought it was all right. I mean, I didn't, you know, realize it was very different from the game, but, you know, that's just like movie adaptations back then, you know. They just, you know, took what they had, and, you know, the Mario does not have like a very dense mythos at this point. I think Super Mario World had been out for like a little while before this movie, which is why, you know, it has like the dinosaurs theme stuff, because that game was themed in Dinosaur Land.
That one was like, what, 90, 91? And then also there is a wave of dino hysteria shit like going on.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of shit going on at this time with dinosaurs, not
It
just
was the time of dinosaurs.
Yeah, I was thinking about Carnosaur the other day, actually. I was like, man, we should do that one day.
Yeah, so like there wasn't a lot for them to go on in this movie. So it seems like they just took like this basic kind of sci-fi idea and like, let's just throw some Mario stuff in there.
Yeah. It's really
weird.
weird.
Like Bob Hoskins aren't technically really Mario stuff. They were in Doki Doki Panic, which was the game that was turned into Mario 2 in America. So even though they were in like Mario 3 and stuff, they weren't originally a Mario thing. Interesting.
I mean, you're right, but there's a lot of stuff.
You're all dying to know that.
There's a lot of stuff that came over that we brought over, though, like the Shy Guys and whatnot.
And
What about Big Bertha? Yeah, she was.
Well, Big Bertha's the fish, the big
Yeah,
fish.
Big Bertha was the fish in 3 that would jump out and eat you.
But in this movie,
well, who was the dragon that ate the eggs?
Birdo.
Birdo.
That was Bert. That was Birdo, yeah.
So did you like it on the revisit, Brooks?
I did. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it's obviously like, it's not very good, but it's good enough.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie and try to be like, this movie's like good. Like,
This movie will change your life, bro.
This movie is a result of a lot of contention, a lot of alcohol, a lot of not knowing what the hell you were doing, and a lot of people cutting corners. Like, that's what this movie is a product of. And I find it rather fascinating. I really, really do. And one of the things that they did get right, I do believe still, just like pretty much in Street Fighter, which is another movie kind of in this vein, but I do like Street Fighter better for some reason, but because of Raul Julia, right? I mean, Raul Julia versus Dennis Hopper. Anyway, what I'm saying is they kind of got the casting right for the most part here, right? Like Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, which still thinking about it's an odd choice, but I think it worked for that dynamic they were going with the younger kid brother, and I like that, and more paternal
a 20-year
Mario.
difference.
Yeah, a more paternal Mario. I like that idea, right? And then Daisy, and then Dennis Hopper, who surely had no fucking clue what he was making while he was... Apparently somebody just told him, you used to be a T-Rex, and if you notice in the movie, he's always like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he always like washes his hands because I don't think he likes to touch things.
He's like a germaphobe, I think.
I think it's because he doesn't like to touch things because he's not used to it when he was a T-Rex, right? Like it's something inside. It's so weird.
Fungus, the king is the fungus all over the place, and he's like,
there's that too. Yeah, there is that.
He doesn't want to like touch him.
He could get killed by the fungus. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Jamie pointed out that the fungus saves Mario and Luigi when they fall out of the city. Yep. The fungus saves them. She goes, I guess that was their one-up mushroom. And I was like, haha. It's just like their extra life. Anyway, great cast. Some really interesting performances in an interesting movie. What is your favorite? What's something you want to highlight, Manny?
Oh, all right. Well, I'm just going to steal him off the gate. Bob Hoskins as Mario was great. I would love to see the version of this film that Dustin Hoffman was going to be, or Tom Hanks. I mean, that's interesting as hell. But Bob Hoskins looks the part. He's cantankerous enough. I think that the scotch helps. It like informs the performance. But what I think is great is that no one wanted to be there. They're all drinking. They all are just openly talking shit about the directors constantly, but they're still giving out performance. Like, it did not impact that film. You don't watch that and be like, this person doesn't want to. It's not like watching a Bruce Willis movie nowadays, right? Like, they all seem like they want to be there, and they're doing an all right job. Like, I didn't notice that they were fucking off, So I don't know. I think that takes gusto, especially for how much Bob Hoskins hated this movie. Like, what Leguizamo calls it, a Cockney Tourette's, when he talks about it.
When he goes off, and there's a direct quote where he's like, it was a fucking nightmare.
So it's like, gosh, and to still put that out, still put out there, and still in my mind, like, be the perfect Mario for this film. I love it. Doing
the action, doing the comedy, doing the drama. Like, this movie kind of has got this really nice sense of adventure that Bob Hoskins really helps carry through 100%. I think he is the best and most spot-on casting. And yeah, they were almost going to go with Tom Hanks, but they were scared because then he had a string of failures, Joe versus the Volcano and the Burbs. And they were like, well, Tom Hanks is, I guess his run's over. But him not making this movie was one of the reasons why he was able to do Philadelphia. So think about that, changing his career.
God, could you imagine the producers when that shit happened? Like, he's winning Oscars and shit.
Dude, in another reality, Tom Hanks did Mario, and his career is over. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Bob Hoskins is like the biggest star on the planet.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, Tom Hanks is the one that's randomly in a Tarantino film when you haven't thought about him in 20 years.
Dude, I freaking Feige. I know you watch this, Kevin Feige. So, dude, if you could just make a poster in one of the MCU multiverse variants where Tom Hanks is Mario in the movie poster, that'd be cool.
This was a paycheck for Dennis Hopper, says Albert. Yeah, and Figure Drawing says he was hoppered up on something. And yeah, Verno. In fact, if you talk to Chris Claremont and ask him, he will say Bob Hoskins, Angela Bassett, they were going to be the tent pole, the anchors of an X-Men film in the 80s or early 90s, but it never took off. And it may seem odd to think of Bob Hoskins as Wolverine, but if Bob Hoskins at the certain point in the 80s could have possibly done it. But I'm still like, I don't know, man. Cape Fear, Robert De Niro for me, for my Wolverine. Like, if you could just... Anyway, we're off topic. Mike, what's a character you want to highlight?
I don't know. I guess I'll do the Luigi in John Leguizamo's character. He's always a fun character. One of my favorite actors. It was just a fun take on Luigi, and this is a kind of a more of a, like, most of the time you're playing Mario Brothers, like, you never really see Luigi. So this was kind of a starring lead for Luigi because, you know, he's always been player 2. And what was it? The Game Boy game made Princess Daisy's first appearance.
Super Mario Land.
Super Mario Land.
And that was always his love interest, so it just kind of fit with that game. And like I said, I think he did a great job. I was reading some stuff today on it. I found out that he got stabbed like 4 times during this film. He had an accident and fell and broke his leg and maybe a rib.
Jeez, maybe because he was fucking drunk.
And Bob Hoskins got stabbed like 4 times also.
Wait, why are everybody getting fucking stabbed making a Mario?
Like, there was like it was
Dennis
a lot
Hopper was method acting.
there's a lot of injuries in this film. All this film was being made, and I think a lot of it has to do with the alcohol. So just a bunch of angry drunks. But I thought his character was fun. Like it was nice to see, to shine a light on Luigi. Like it was. I'm trying to think of, was this his big breakout movie?
Yeah.
Or was it, I can't remember.
What would he have been in before this? I don't know if this may have been one of the first. I mean, I don't know, man.
I know he has said that he was offered like a TV show, a sitcom, and he was
Based
like,
on the
"No,
series.
I do movies now." When he got this role, so
Yeah.
And then he did, I remember he was in that movie with Kurt Russell. Right
He was
around
in
this
Die
time.
Hard 2, probably a very small role. He was in a few things
he's
before this,
tiny,
but nothing.
tiny room. Yeah,
This was
I
supposed to
remember.
be his big. This was supposed to be his big one. After this, he did Carlito's Way, then Tu Wong Fu. Then I think this is when I first saw him in a movie.
Yeah, I think this was his run, because then
Do you think
after
it's a
that,
better?
he said Spawn in the past.
Do you think it's a better performance or of an adaptation of a character, a pop culture icon like Luigi, or do you like this better than his performance as Clown?
I mean, Luigi as Clown, that would have been kind of interesting. I thought it was just fun. I thought it was okay. It's just, I don't know. This movie was fun. There's not a lot of real depth into this movie. So
All right. Well, if anybody can pull some depth out, it's Brooks. Brooks, what's a performance you want to highlight?
It's like a very brief performance, really. But I liked Toad in this movie. Like he's just like a random street musician playing guitar.
Yeah.
He's got like the weird thing shaved into his head, like his mushroom cap. But I thought that character was pretty funny because I think the guy who plays it is like Mojo Nixon was what the credits said. And has he ever been in anything else?
I don't know. News to me, man.
He's like, he didn't seem that familiar, but like with a
Mojo
name like that, how can you not be a star? He's like,
he's
that
more of a
makes me think of like Mojo from the X-Men as mixed with Richard Nixon.
He's a
He is a
musician.
musician. He had more. He had a lot of albums. I think he's still.
That makes sense then why he's a guitar guy.
He's got a band. He was in a band once, at least, called Toad Liquors. Like liquors, like liqueur, like
How appropriate.
vodka. Yeah, I thought that was neat. Yeah, it's cool. I also like it.
I liked him after like the transformation too. I like that he had a harmonica.
Yeah,
Like as a
yeah.
Goomba.
Like
You could
I
always
love
tell
him.
Which one was Toad?
He's my favorite Goomba. Plus, he had the spiral cut in his hair
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And the Goombas are so damn stupid. So just in general, like that's probably one of my favorite like performances is just the Goombas. Like they're just like, and when they start making them rock, and like they just all start like it's so fucking just dumb. It's hilarious, and it's Luigi that comes up with the idea, right? Mario's like, "What are we doing here?" And it's actually kind of a tense scene, man, because they're fucking scary. And I remember being like thinking they were creepy as hell when I was a kid watching this movie. Like, I mean, it's kind of fun, and he in particular is cute, but I like how they also tried to give them a little bit of individual personality. And you have ones that look more like a, with the long nose and snout or whatever, and then you have the It's so weird. And like they're Goombas. Well, why? Because that's what they're called. Okay. It's so weird.
Goomba.
They just put the names, like, sure, call that. Sure, whatever. Like, I don't know, man. I think the directors were trying to like slightly make another film.
They could have thrown in like Super Troopers, just like have them like big dudes in like turtle armor. And shit.
Yeah. I mean, they had like Koopa Troopers, I guess, because they're the police, right? That are like all armored up and shit.
They should have made it more like turtle themed then.
Yeah, but
like red and green ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that would be really cool. But why would they do that? This movie's not colorful at all. No. Like, I'm surprised they put them in the red and the green coveralls, but it took forever to get there, right?
Like, that kind of pissed me off because, like, it's like, why didn't they just make it that was their uniforms, like their work clothes, instead of them just finding them in like a random locker in Dinosaur Land, like at the end of the fucking movie?
They do that same shit in Street Fighter, where nobody's like fully in their costume till the fucking end of the movie. Like, just happen. It's like they thought back in those days they couldn't just adapt these things. Maybe it was how would you adapt it visually in live action like the game? You know what I'm saying? So,
I think it's a test audience thing. I think it's the same reason why we get that like 2 seconds of Go-Go Power Rangers in the fucking new Power Rangers movie. Because like I think they test audience it and they're like, well, they were never in their costumes. And like, oh, well, we'll just shoot them in their costumes for this little tiny bit of the film. Like, I don't think the directors wanted that at all.
Yeah.
One of the things that I had heard also, or heard or read, that this was supposed to be a prequel of sorts to the Mario universe. So that's why, like, when she comes in at the end and says, "Oh, you're not gonna believe what happened," it was kind of like this was supposed to set up like, hey, the world's changed, and like this is what's happening now. So, like, if you look at it as a prequel, and then that's how they got their uniforms. Like,
yeah, well,
see it like that.
It is obviously trying to set something else up. And another performance I want to highlight real quickly is Dennis Hopper. We kind of touched on it a little bit, but I do like him in this movie. He's adding these weird little touches. It's not quite Raul Julia and Bison level, but it's something. This dude, Dennis Hopper's got some brilliant performances, and he's just got some fucking weird, brilliant performances. And then he's got things like this, right? So, and if, he's Koopa. He's King Koopa, not technically Bowser. So, like, at the end of the movie, like, that could have been a setup. Like, okay, you killed the king, like King Koopa, like, right? But Bowser's actually the big dude, right? Because you have to have escalation, right? And they think it's the desert, but what's out
with the de-evolution ray, right? So it's like bringing out his a Tyrannosaurus side, I guess.
Yeah. But anyway, pretty cool.
I'm disappointed that Mario didn't like cut down a bridge with an axe and like send him to his doom.
Do you think that bit when he's in the I don't know what that is, but where they have molten metal or cement or something that like, and he winds up inside of it? You think they're trying to reference the airship in Super Mario World?
Yeah, that's what I always thought.
That'd be interesting if they were.
Yeah, I think that's what they were trying to do. They're like, that's their version of it. And that describes the look and tone of the atmosphere of the film visually.
Like the inside of Cooper Tower has those like spike things on the walls.
It does. They add some little touches, but they do it in this weird like dystopian cyberpunk Blade Runner kind of way. So let's talk about the style and structure. So story-wise, the story doesn't work. It's got some really good, solid ideas that are very interesting. The interesting idea that the meteorite or asteroid that kills the dinosaurs actually splits the Earth into 2 different dimensions, and one of them, reptiles become the dominant form of life, even though they evolve into human-looking mammals. But they do little touches, like in the set design and the costumes, like they're always wearing leather. Nobody's wearing like a fur or anything like that, right? So there are these little touches that are in there that are thought about. So there's really interesting ideas and concepts at the core of some of the elements of this movie. But all in all, it's just a rather simple story that works decently enough on a base level. It runs a little bit long, but I don't feel it being long when I'm watching it. I think it's fine with its pace. Whoever the editor of this movie is, that's probably the true unsung hero, right? Of being able to take all this, put it together, and make it work, because I do think it works, and it didn't work on the level that people were expecting at all. But on its own, for what it is, it's got some cool ideas. It's kind of thrown together. it's really just rambunctious. Like instead of warping through pipes, there's this weird bit where the music gets goofy and they're like sliding through the tunnels and ice and everything. And another thing is Mario's girlfriend in this movie, an original draft, apparently her last name or her middle name was Pauline. So that's actually supposed to be the girl that Donkey Kong takes in the first Donkey Kong game that Mario's trying to save, right?
Yep.
So I don't know, man. But overall, I think it's got a really interesting style visually. And that to me is a treat. I really like those special effects, the practical stuff they get to do. They do some weird, wonky CG type stuff that's really interesting and working. Like when they're de-evolving people and they're doing all the weird face shit and stretchy. And it actually works for its time, for what they were doing. What do you think, Manny, about style, structure of the film?
Dude, I feel like the style of this film is pretty evident. I mean, anytime you're in Dinohatten, like that is what this film's supposed to look like, and it does a really good job at having that world. It feels rich, feels lived in. It feels like it's they did an amazing job there. Where I think stuff gets wonky is where they don't have the budget for like I think like in a perfect world, the dinosaurs wouldn't look like people. They would look like more closer to lizard people, I think. And I feel like a lot of like the video, like that sequence you're talking about where they're going down the ice because they turned the heat off on the pipes and now it's ice and they're going through all that.
I know, what is that doing, man? They're like cold blooded. Like, I don't understand. Like, what are they trying to do?
I don't know. And like Mario seems super committed to that too. He's like, it's the heating system. Quick, turn off those valves. Like, it's like, it's like,
I mean, reptiles have to live in warm environments, right? So I guess that's the bit there, but it didn't really ultimately result in anything.
No. I feel like that. I feel like those little touches, the Mario brothers getting into their costumes, those little the sliding down the tube, that's all Nintendo and the producer saying this needs to be more family friendly. So they added a bunch of because like the scene that made me laugh out loud when I was watching the Indian bootleg online of this was when the Goombas are riding the other like their sled breaks or they're just riding another Goomba down the chute, and it's like that was definitely a gag in there for kids. And I'm sure when I was 8 when this came out, and I was laughing my ass off at it, I'm sure. But like I feel like that's where it gets wonky is they tried to force this to be more child friendly. The crappy animation at the very beginning of the film, that exposition, that's purely to make it kid friendly. That
is a test audience thing too, because like people didn't understand what the fuck was going on, so they did this, that they threw that shit together, I think in a weekend or something, and you can tell, bro. It's rough.
Oh, it's bad. But I mean, look at some of the amazing things they did. You talked about the CG stuff, which I think is really, really cool for the time, and it's because it's so stylized, it doesn't feel as dated on the rewatch because it is so stylized. But like Yoshi is just as cool as anything in Jurassic Park. I mean, that
should have been more Yoshi.
Absolutely, more Yoshi. So I
would like to see Bob Hoskins try to get on Yoshi and ride it.
Oh gosh, that would have been
Yoshi sprouts wings.
He's mouth
a blue shell.
But that, and then I don't know, it's got that same like 90s extreme sci-fi style. Like I'm disappointed that I'm 30 years removed from this and I still don't wear spiky clothes. Like that's up on some bullshit. They set my expectations way too high, man. I don't wear enough leather or enough spikes. And I know that's within my power to fix, but I'm nervous about going out in public if no one else is. So y'all need to get up on that leather and spike style as well. But no, I don't know. I think the story's I'm getting on a tangent, but I like it. I think it works. I think the story works really well. You can tell where shit was forced in, but I mean, it definitely has its own style and it's committed to it and it looks good.
Yeah, you just brought up a good point. Next year, this movie's 30 years old, man. We need a 30th anniversary in-depth Blu-ray with bonus features and everything. Shout Factory, get on that. And
motion also, comic sequel?
Oh, man. I don't know about that. But one thing that also I was just thinking about is while I was watching this movie, I kept just going like, who are they making this movie for? Like there are elements that are very adult themed and oriented, and then parts that are very kid thing. But this is something I think they did in more kids fair back in this day, because you try to like appeal to the family film, meaning that you have to have something to appeal to everyone.
That Dennis Hopper scene with Daisy when he's dude, that is creepy as hell. I put her away. I'm gonna use her later. Like the dialogue, that's an intense little scene
that's pretty heavy, man. Like honestly, like what the fuck kind of movie were they trying to make? What's up, Herm? Mike, what do you think about the style and structure of the film, bro? You're muted.
Sorry, I got to do that at least once a show. So, I know it's fun. Like Manny said a lot about it. One of the things that I liked about everything was the cars were more like bumper cars. They got wasn't gas powered because there was no dinosaurs to make
no fossil fuels.
Well, they were electric. They had like the lines like
it's like a bumper cars. And it just charged the engines. And that's how
that's an interesting detail that they had to spend money on creating. Like, and then, when they could have just had people with turtles on their backs, turtle shells on their backs.
And there was no braking. Apparently, was a problem for a lot of the people.
They didn't have brakes. I wonder what the reasoning for that is. So they had to run into it's like the jets when they land.
It's
they
like
have
a
to
Flintstones thing where you're just supposed to push your feet through the bottom to stop yourself.
Stop. But yeah, there's no like every time you saw even they hit the brake, it would always spin or crash into something. I mean, it felt more like it looked more like bumper cars because like everything was just bumping into each other, and then everything was boxed in and caged in, and every car had a roll cage of some sort. So I'd like to see what happens, what's out in the desert, what's more in the desert, because it's kind of like, oh, you got to see the city, and then you got to see where's the water world, from the video games. So it's kind of
you get the idea that there's more than just the desert, and the next place they go will be like some weird pyramids with these like living flames that are like hunting them down and shit.
Blocks will just start randomly jumping at them.
Yeah, right.
And then one of the things too, it's like the
sun attacks.
So shooting the fireball was the weapon of choice, and it was nice that they really didn't make it a flower, but the gun that shot the fireballs was cool. And I'm pretty sure I know we've talked about it at the store, but the devolving gun is a Super Scope 6, so a nice little product placement right there.
Yep.
But yeah, so I mean it's a lot of fun and campiness. I don't know who they made this movie for. It's like they made it for adults and kids, but we're just trying to be. It's like, oh, we're dark enough. But then again, there's cartoons back in this day too that they'll make a joke that's it's over a kid's head, but like it's that one's for the parents, not the kids. So.
Yeah, and they also nobody knew what they were doing because this had never been done. This was the very first time a video game was adapted into a movie, right?
Yeah.
Like the very first time. And people always say that, they had made movies about video games as far back as Tron, but this was the first time a video game got explicitly turned into a movie. They didn't know what the hell to do, bro. And there was not much to go on unless you're just doing like, I don't know, man. They could have went like the legend route, like visually, like imagine that, like it went a little bit more fantasy, but they went sci-fi. I don't know where anybody picks up a sci-fi vibe from Super Mario Brothers, man. No. Honestly, what do you think about style and structure, Brooks?
I think it is a very kind of typical of that area sci-fi kind of looking movie. That is the dystopia, the kind of like fluorescent dystopia, I guess. It's in like it did seem kind of reminiscent of Blade Runner in that way. Like the people of like Dinohatten, though they seem like pretty much like regular New Yorkers in a lot of ways, but just like slightly different. But this movie, the Mario stuff just seems so out of place a lot of times, just because it just seems like a movie that was meant to be like this kind of this fun sci-fi dystopia adventure.
It's like one of those Hellraiser films where it's just like, fuck, man, take that script, slap some Mario shit in it, put Pinhead in it.
Mario just appears once the lament configuration is put together.
You put together the question box.
I have at the show.
So yeah, you think it's yeah. It's a little mix. It's a mix match of some shit, man. It's a patchwork of a bunch of ideas, a bunch of mistakes, a bunch of neglect. This is a cinematic neglect producing something interesting, in my opinion. Let's talk about the music real quick. It's Alan Silvestri, y'all, and doing the composition there, the composing. Alan Silvestri, who you'll know as the composer of Back to the Future, one of the most recognizable, themes from the 80s. You think of things like Indiana Jones and the Star Wars stuff, and Superman's and the John Williams stuff. But this, Back to the Future, that was epic, right? I like the music when it gets its chance to do something, but there's very little of it in there because they usually take the soundtrack to jam in as many songs that are somehow dinosaur themed as possible. Though I do love the use of Walk the Dinosaur, and I love that they have a little dance. And apparently an original version of the script, that was supposed to be like a dino strip club. And so they were like, no, you can't do that. And so they came out with this little dino dance that they were doing. So the directors obviously wanted to go in a completely different way. But Alan Silvestri, his score is good if you can pick it out and pay attention to it. But there's a lot of just goofy, like stock music for all the comedic bits. They start off using the actual 8-bit game music. And it totally sets the tone the wrong way. Like if you start that out, you're like, all right, this movie's weird. But the music for what it is decent enough, but nothing really stands out to me, especially being from Alan Silvestri, but there is some good stuff in it. What about you, Manny?
Exactly. I'll say that the music is where it's not good. It's not offensive enough to color my opinion of it one way or the other. And it's not good enough to color my opinion of it really one way or the other. Is serviceable even the right word when it's just, I don't even notice it aside from Walk the Dinosaur. Like that's the only thing I remember from the movie.
Yeah.
Is that song.
It's because of the dance.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like all of a sudden they're doing the time warp and shit, man.
Yep.
What about you, Mike? Did you notice the music?
I knew that you were going to ask about the music, so I tried to listen to it, and it just falls flat. The only thing that really stood out was the Was Not Was song for Walk the Dinosaur.
Which this is not that version. It's George Clinton and the Goombas doing doing a cover of it.
It's a cover.
Yeah, and Donnie Wahlberg wrote a song for Marky Mark of the Funky Bunch. That's on here. Extreme's got a song on here.
Well,
Megadeth. There's a Megadeth song on here.
I think there's a Herbie Hancock song on here also.
I think that Roxette song that's on here too was like a music video or something.
Well, that was the thing. Like, I don't remember. It's kind of like when you watch the credits and it shows everything, and then it's just like, and then Roxette with this song, and then the song starts playing. So it was just like, okay, cool. So here's this new Roxette song.
Thank you, Comic Book Jackpot Station.
But yeah, so it's just one of those. Like the music was, like I could hear it, and then it was very basic. Like, oh, it's chasey, so it's upbeat. It's dramatic, so let's just bring in just bring it down a bit. So the orchestral part of the soundtrack. It was just very standard and typical.
Could you imagine Alan Silvestri? Like, because they like write and compose seeing like images from the film, right? Could you imagine him just being like, all right, just like.
I said, I think he phoned it in on a lot of that. So.
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of phoning in going on in this movie, and it's pretty evident. Pretty evident. What about you, Brooks? What do you think about the music?
I thought it was pretty typical of like, the kids adventure movie. It was pretty pretty basic. And I think he missed a lot of opportunities to actually integrate like some of the video game music in there. It would have been cool if use the da. It's like when they first get to Dinohatten or something, and maybe like when he's in the final battle of the Bowser, you go so I wish he would have done more with the Mario music.
Yeah,
they would have helped the mood a little more. Yeah.
All right. Here's the interesting part. What is this movie trying to say? What is the theme of this movie? What is it about? What is it trying to speak about human existence or the cosmos or our place in it and cosmic awareness? What is this movie saying to you, Manny?
All right. This movie it's really about like your place in the world, right? I mean, I feel like Mario and Luigi have this dynamic at the beginning of the film where Luigi is he's always watching these like unsolved mysteries type thing, and he's reaching beyond, and Mario is just trying to instill the wisdom of him and his father, right? Treat your tools like your best friend, they'll never leave your side, like that type of thing. Koopa is obsessed with the idea of expanding his kingdom because all he knows is Dinohatten and an endless desert, like he talks about. Daisy doesn't understand her place in the world, being an outsider in the human world and still being an outsider in the dinosaur world. I feel like this film has a lot to say about who we are, about it, even the behind the scene drama speaks to that. You've got these directors really trying to create something that's within their wheelhouse. Max Headroom, music videos, everything that they had done in the past. This is their world. This is what they have. And the producers and the studio and Nintendo are trying to push them into this large blockbuster fantasy realm that they're not comfortable in either. Nintendo bought this idea and sold these rights because they pitched a dark, gritty Mario movie to them. You realize how stupid that sounds? Like, and Nintendo was like, absolutely, that's what we want to do. And that doesn't even make sense. Nobody is content to be in their wheelhouse, and look at what happens. And yes, this is a beautiful disaster because thematically, behind the scenes, on the page, on the screen, it all for some reason works together. But it shouldn't. It shouldn't. Like this is a whole film about not being content with where you are in the world and not knowing your place and what can come of that. We're all outcasts, cast into this sea of possibility, and we're getting tossed to and fro from the waves, but we can still make it to a really cool destination. I think that's what this film is trying to say, or at least that's the bullshit I practiced in the mirror before I came on the show tonight.
No, man, that's really spot on. I 100% think so. I mean, you're really kind of capturing some, because there's so many things that this movie is saying, because so many people are trying to say different things with it, right? But I mean, you honestly, there is that story. It's Daisy. That's really the core of Daisy and Luigi's story for me, right? What about you, Mike? What do you think the movie's about?
Well, really? I mean, Manny pretty much nailed it on the head. You could say something with the evolution and de-evolution of looking at the humans of growth of a personal growth, and
that's what the fungus represents. Growth,
spiritualness of like the whole, just like this one society just wants to take over another one, wants to devolve another society, and it's just like, it's because you feel that you're not smart enough, or what? Like there's some hidden meanings in there that you could take away from it, I'm sure. Like I said, I've only watched this movie once, so I haven't really done a deep dive into it. If it was downloadable and I could just watch like tomorrow at work, like, I'm just gonna listen to it, and listening to a movie and watching a movie, I pick up a little different things.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think Mandy pretty much nailed it in the head, and then, like, there's some growth and degrowth in there. Also, monkeys in suits are funny.
There you go.
Every time.
You go.
Monkey.
There's a whole lot more about the Scapelli stuff in the. There was a work print on VHS that was found of this, so there is an extended cut now that does exist, and in fact, the Australian Blu-ray that released last October uses that raw edit, so people can see it, right? So there you go. And it says, this movie is saying cool movie snobs will appreciate it 30 years, unironically. All right, Brooks, what's this movie trying to say?
Well, I think this movie is about the plight of the working man. It's like Mario and Luigi, they're like, they're in that, this profession, but they're barely scraping by. They can't get jobs. And when they get a job, like this Scapelli guy is sending plumbers to steal the jobs that they got somehow. which is something I thought was weird that like they get called to do this job, and by the time they get there, like the Scapelli guys have showed up and done it. It's like, did they just like tap the phones to find out that they like tapped Mario's phone to snag his jobs from him?
Yeah, and he's like this big mogul, and he's trying to shut
Yeah,
down
it's like
this
this dude's
site.
like some kind of big shot, but he's got like he's got this plumbing service. Like
He kind of looks like Trump before he was Trump.
That's the thing. Like Mario is the underdog, and he has to use like his everyman skills to get by. You know, like you think just anybody could have like fucked up the air conditioning or heating or whatever in this place? Nah, man, you need Mario skills for that. Even though like it ended up being kind of irrelevant at the end, but
Well, I mean, if you go back, like Luigi's checking the messages, like he's like Mario goes, "Hey, check the messages and see what we have," and then he sees Daisy and falls in love. But if you listen, there's a guy on the phone saying, "We need help. We need help. Send everybody you got. This is going to be the biggest job. This will it's the guy's telling him, he's like, you're going to get rich off this job," and he's like, "Click here. You can use the phone." Was there any messages? No, we got no jobs.
Damn Luigi.
Like Luigi's just in love, and there's the biggest job of their career. So, but then again, if Luigi wasn't Luigi, then this wouldn't have been the same story.
It's not Super Luigi Brothers.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mario, what's the last name? Mario, what's your name? Luigi, what's your last
Mario,
name?
Mario.
Luigi Mario.
Luigi Mario. It's got 3 Marios. Mario, and Luigi Mario.
There's some good bits in there, and I think that there's some good camaraderie between Leguizamo and Hoskins there. And Hoskins does play a heating, cooling guy in Brazil, which we talked about last week, right? So we're trying to tie things together. Not really. That's just a coincidence. You guys have all kind of hit the nail on the head. In the words of Vin Diesel, this movie's about family. Like, honestly, it's about family and what is family and where do you belong? And even if it's like this secret reptilian society, it's about mystery, the mystery of existence. Even if, Luigi doesn't feel like he is on board with continuing the family tradition of being a plumber. Like they got plungers like up on their fucking wall, like as trophies and shit. It's like it's a heritage to them, right? And Luigi's kind of got his heads in the clouds, but it's also talking about appreciating the mystery because you never know what's right around the corner. It's about plumbing. Yeah. But overall, I would say it's a dystopian view of corporatized and a commercial reptilian empire and its effect on the class structure at large and its impact on the environment.
Because like Koopa's like used up all the resources.
Exactly.
That's why he wants to go to our Earth. He wants to basically take our resources because he's fucking used them all.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Like even the dude Toad is singing the song like, "Ain't got no water anywhere. Food's bad. So
there."
Exactly. So that's what we think the movie's about.
A great big stupa.
All right, that was fun.
The evil King Koopa.
I'm glad that you know the fucking song.
That song is catchy as fuck to me, dude.
It is.
I heard that song and I'm like,
why didn't you mention that when I asked you about the music? You should have been like, oh, Mojo. You guys are going to start buying all of the Toad Lickers albums now, man. Yeah, Mike's got you. Mike's going to try to find you some stuff. He's going to send you some MP3s. All right, here's the real interesting bit. You out there in the chat, we want to know. Super Mario Brothers, out of 5 possible you digs, what do you give it? And don't forget, you can find gold in any turd, as we just displayed, right? Life lessons, valuable. And even Super Mario Brothers. Another message of the movie is respect the source material. Eternals needed to heed that lesson, in my opinion. But at least this movie isn't boring. I'll give it that. So, with all these factors in mind, Manny, and you out there in the chat, Manny, how many you digs do you give it out of 5?
Oh my goodness. 8-year-old Manny wants to yell 5, 5, 5. And 35-year-old Manny has to say it's a 3.5 you digs. As much as I love this film, I can't give it anything higher than that. I mean, technically I could, because who gives a shit? But I'm still giving it a 3.5 you digs. I think that makes me sound unbiased and objective. So
we got to be honest here. 3.5 for this movie is, I think, generous. But I think that's a good solid rating. We got the ratings pouring in the chats here. What about you, Mike? Out of 5, you digs, what do you give Super Mario Bros?
It's my first time watching it all the way through. I have no nostalgia to hold on to for this one. So I could watch this movie once a year or once a month. Really, it's kind of one of those. It's the Robbie Sunday movie, Sunday morning movie. Like that's what this movie is made for, and it's not even like it's called classic. It's bad, but it's so bad that it's good. I mean, it's in the territory of The Room. So 4.5.
Whoa. Woo, man, that knocked me back, bro. Okay, all right. 4.5 from Mike upon first viewing almost 30 years later. Hell yeah. I just thought I don't have this on VHS. I got to get a hold of this one somehow. 4.5 from Mike. What about you, Brooks?
I'd give this movie a 3. I mean, I like it. It's just fun, but I think the tone clashing like really hurts it a lot, you know. I think kind of the mixture of the Mario stuff in there, it kind of strengthens it in ways and weakens it in other ways. But you know, it is still a pretty fun movie. I mean, I'd watch it again.
Yeah, it's definitely something to watch, and it sucks that it's not available just to watch. It should be on one of the streaming services. It should be available to rent for like a few bucks, right? I'm going to go along with Manny and go 3.5. I was all set. I think this movie, honestly, probably, it's hard. Okay, my trying to like, if at the time, if you're looking at it a very critical lens, this movie is not good, right? But I love this movie. It's such a weird stretch. Like, it is the definition of weird stretch, right? And it's just so freaking fascinating to me. Like, this train wreck of a movie that's got some really interesting ideas, but so much shit just kind of thrown together, including these Mario references. And I even think that shit's cute, you know? Like Iggy and Spike, right? And by the way, Iggy is one of Koopa's or Bowser's kids.
Yeah, one of the Koopa kids. Spike was like the dude who coughs up the giant spike ball.
How random. How random, you know? So it's just, I don't know. They're like, they're almost like Easter eggs. Like when you see the names of shit in the,
so in the background. Like, I know that guy.
Exactly, man. And it's a cool, interesting film visually. So 3.5 from me, 3.5 from Manny, 4.5 from Mike, and a 3 from Brooks for a PCP average of 3.69, dudes. Nice. All right. In the chat, we got Chaco's 26.5. You digs?
Oh.
Wow.
I said, man, it's a good.
I think people. And nowadays, especially, you're so far removed from the expectation of what it's supposed to be, right? And you already know it's supposed to be bad. So when you find it to be kind of enjoyable, and that's what it is. It's not boring. It's not dull. It's kind of fun. Albert gives it 3, you digs. Then bumped it up to 3.5. Billy gives it -1. All right. We'll just count that as a 0. We'll round it. Benjamin gives it 3. Bobby De La Ghetto, 4. Mushrooms. Hell yeah. 1, you dig. I question all of your impartiality. We're not trying to be like, super critical. We're just talking about our personal experiences. Yeah. But I do too. But, it is. It's only for the cast. So much talent, yet so much cringe. Yeah, but it's like that fun level of it. I love it.
Like it's like Sunday morning, you're hungover. You don't want to do anything. Like, you just put this movie in, eat a whole bunch of grease, and just veg on the couch.
Yeah, or bring your homies over and crack open some brewskis or something and just have a good time watching this movie, eating some pizza or some guacamole chips or something,
And just joke on it.
Anyway, next week, PCP movie night, 8 p.m. Central Time on Monday nights. We're going to be talking about, I'm really excited for this one, y'all, The Beastmaster, the Don Coscarelli film. Very excited for that. Join us I think you can easily find that one to stream or rent somewhere. Last I saw it was on Amazon Prime. I don't know if it still is, but
it's on Prime as of yesterday.
There you go. The Beastmaster is what we're doing next week for PCP Movie Night, but this upcoming Saturday on Dylan's Horror Show, we're talking about Scream 5, everybody. So it's going to be full-on spoiler discussion. So that concludes the PCP Movie Night review of Super Mario Brothers. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back for a little bit of back chat, including some show and tell. So y'all remember, wherever you go, there you are. And I'm trying to think of a Mario phrase. Oh, that's right. Sorry. Your princess is in another castle.
You can sing along to the Hellboy song if you want.
That's all I can think, man. A fish named. I don't know what he's gonna do now that it's retired.
If somebody pays enough, he'll do it. Drop a $50 super chat.
Oh, dude, I don't know what fell in my trash. I was setting up to do my little Instagram live. Go check out the Backchat video, and my tension arms on this rig I've got here are just like completely getting loose right now. So like my RGB wand smacked me in the forehead. Then it fell backwards, knocked all the pops off the wall. So I have no idea what's in my trash can, what's anywhere. Man, I'm telling you, YouTuber troubles, yo. YouTuber troubles.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wild to see it.
Feel the pain.
Oh.
How's everybody doing? Welcome to PCP Backchat. This is the show after the show where we'll talk about anything you want to talk about. Except for we're not going to talk about the Cowboys right now. But you know, whatever. So here's something I want to get into.
Hey man, how about them Steelers?
You know, it is what it is. Rams taking care of business tonight versus Arizona. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yes, 21-0.
Brooks, what do you think about the Eternals?
I thought it was a very mediocre movie. It had its moments, but it was for me. It was too long, and it wasn't interesting enough. You know, I don't think it was bad. It had. I mean, I liked. I think my biggest problem is like Thema was one of my favorites from the comic, and she gets like fucking benched through most of the movie.
Wasted.
Yeah. But I mean, I would watch the second one, like, and hopefully they, could make it a little more interesting,
It would have been a better series, right? Kind of spread out, told in a more long form kind of way. By the way, Jelani said he couldn't be here tonight, but Jelani said his rating on Super Mario Brothers was 2.5.
Respectable for him.
Yeah. So it wouldn't have been such a lopsided review had Jelani actually been here. What would you give it out of 5 you digs, the Eternals, Brooks?
I'd probably give it 3. It's all right.
Yeah, I watched Eternals and Super Mario Brothers this week, and I was like, and Lake Placid, and I was like, Super Mario Brothers is the best one I've watched this week.
No. I have never fallen asleep on first viewing of a Marvel movie until the Eternals. I completely fell asleep multiple times while watching.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
I kind of feel bad for Disney and Marvel Studios right now. Not really, but the idea that like the movie comes out, doesn't do what they wanted it to do. So they were like, oh, well, that's just, COVID numbers and, we're being review bombed. Right. And then it comes out on Disney Plus. And so now you have the second wave of negative response when the majority of people start watching it, right? Because like most of everybody I know watched it for the first time this week.
Yep.
It was like this was the release.
Well, when we get one of these like unknown Marvel properties, we expect it to be like Guardians of the Galaxy, showing us something different. And it just didn't do it. It didn't capture that Kirby-ness,
dude. I feel like this movie went straight up to Jack Kirby's grave and took its shit on it. Like the heel, we don't want to spoil anything really, but the heel turn that happens, come on, man. Mm-hmm. Kirby would have been like not cool with that. Because you know why they had to do what they had to do in this movie? Because they didn't have a fucking villain. Here's the thing though, you got an evolving deviant. Because the deviants
I was hoping they would do more with him.
They drop it.
And the deviants as like, a threat.
Yeah. And the characters with charisma. Gilgamesh, Fastos.
Yeah. Gilgamesh was my favorite.
Kingo was my favorite.
Yeah.
Right? They're side characters, and like Fastos doesn't even show up till like later into the movie. It's like it's almost third act time, and they're still bringing in characters again. Like it's just too much, too fast. And
I told Tiff it's the same problem with Encanto. There's too many fucking characters, and they just needed to be a series or something. So we got some time to give a shit about any of them. There's no time given, and Encanto's the same problem. There's members of that family have no clue what the hell their powers are or what they're doing in the story.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Just needed to be a series.
I feel like this is Squadron Supreme and Eternals kind of forced into the Squadron Supreme kind of mold is what I feel like they did ultimately. And The only thing that they took from the Kirby stuff is the ancient alien idea. And of course, and the Celestials look fucking badass and everything too. And they took the egg idea from Earth X, but I don't know, man. It just was boring, right? Like Icarus and Cersei were supposed to care, like Black Knight. Brooks, did you see the last post credits thing?
Yeah.
Did you notice whose voice that was?
It was Blade, right?
Yeah, I didn't fucking know that. Mike had to tell me that.
Yeah, I was like, how would anyone really know that? You know,
why didn't they just
show
show
like a silhouette of him or something?
And they didn't even like try to hide it, because I remember when this film first came out, there were all these theory channels like, oh, I bet that's this character or this character, and then like 10 minutes later the director was giving an interview and she's like, oh yeah, that's Blade. It's like, well, why didn't you just
Blade tied up to the Black Knight though? Like,
they shared a little bit of time in a comic book together. It was the Captain Britain and the MI-13 or something like that. It was just a tiny little thing. So
British Blade.
Yeah, but they're going to go more into the darker aspect of the Black Knight, I'm sure, and they're trying to set up some kind of Midnight Suns corner of the MCU, led by like Blade and say like a Ghost Rider. Or I've heard they want to bring in Morbius, and I'm like, no, because that movie looks like it is garbage, man. And not even adding a half-assed attempt at adding Andrew Garfield into it at the last minute ain't going to save it.
So why it's getting pushed back so they can add Andrew Garfield scene?
That's the rumor, because I think that's a movie that they've been in panic mode. I think when the pandemic shut down all those theaters, I think they were like, oh, thank God. Like, we can think about this a little bit longer.
Could you imagine what Jared Leto's gonna feel like when that film drops, gets critically panned, and then Marvel releases a Midnight Suns film with a different take on Morbius set in the 70s? And
no shit, right? It's gonna be terrible. I haven't seen the new Moon Knight trailer yet. We've been doing this, but I'm excited to check it out because it drops during the game. It may have already dropped, I'm sure.
It already did. It was when you were giving your thoughts on your final thoughts on the movie. It was being aired. So
nice.
I didn't have the volume up, but it did look interesting, and it also kind of made me like, what the fuck's going on? Like, what's? So I don't know. I'll just watch it after we're done.
Manny, out of 5 you digs, what would you give Eternals?
Ooh, like I said, I've never fallen asleep. I'm gonna. God, it raises so many freaking questions. It like unnecessarily raises questions. I'm gonna go with. God, I don't want to seem like a dick. I'm gonna go with the 2, because I feel like there's at least some entertaining bits, and I feel like given without spoilers, like given the way that these Eternals are, like they have a chance to fix it later. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So I'm giving it a 2 with it. It should be a 1 in my opinion. I really didn't like this film. But I'm going to go with the 2 with optimistically looking forward to what could happen in the future.
Gotcha. I went with 2.5 when I did my review yesterday. What about you, Mike? What would you give it?
It had some good visuals. Not as good as Dune, but it still had some good visuals. The costumes looked pretty dope. Like, especially when they had to power up and put the costume back on. I thought that was kind of very, very cool. Not very Kirby-ish. I'd say a 3.
All right. So, yeah, it seems like everybody's like, yeah, it's kind of a mediocre.
Because I fell asleep during, like, I sat down to watch it, and then it's just like, I fell asleep. And that's not like staying up till like 2 o'clock in the morning to watch it. It's just like, I just got off work. It's like 6 o'clock in the evening. Like, I got 8. Like, let's check out this thing.
Yeah.
I've just watched Boba Fett, and let's watch this.
Cardstock, the Morbius movie got pushed back to April. So, there you go. Figure Drawing says, I give the Eternals a 1.5 in part because I didn't bother finishing it. I have fallen asleep during a Marvel movie. 2 of them while I watched them in the theaters. The first time was Doctor Strange. Fell asleep in that movie. But to my credit, it had reclining leather seats, and it was dark, and I just think we went and saw the movie after 9, and if I start a movie after 9, I'm falling asleep in it. But I also did the same thing pretty much. I fell asleep during Shang-Chi a little bit, just a smidgen.
God, that movie pisses me off.
I don't really like it either. Brooks likes it.
I like That's two completely different fucking movies. I like both parts of them. I don't like both parts of them together. The first part's this really cool street level kung fu movie that's fucking awesome. And the second part's some weird fucking fantasy film that's also pretty awesome, but as one movie, it just makes everything so damn long and yeah.
I agree. Brooks liked that one though. So best Marvel movie or TV show of the year. The best Marvel cinematic project of the MCU of 2021. What was it? Because for me, I might have to go. I mean, I guess No Way Home counts. Okay. So, but I honestly, it might goddamn be WandaVision for me. Man. Like, honestly, I didn't like any of the movies that they did. I like No Way Home, and that's fun. So a lot of people, I think, would pick that one. And the TV shows are fine. Like, I like Loki, but I think WandaVision just hit me in the right way, man. I just loved WandaVision. And I know that's not popular because a lot of people don't like the sitcom structure at first, but I like it because it's telling the history of television as well as telling a complex story about dealing with the after effects of grief. Right? Yeah. Like, I don't know, man. I really, really like it.
See, I loved WandaVision. If I have to just say like that's the show that I liked out of all of them the most. But I've rewatched Loki. I have rewatched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I've almost rewatched all of Hawkeye again. I haven't gone back to WandaVision, so I feel like that's a weird thing for me to say that that's my number one. So out of the stuff that actually enticed me to go back, I'd say Loki's probably my favorite then.
What about you, Brooksy?
Yeah, I'd probably say Loki was my favorite too. Which I probably have more attachment to the character than most, being a Thor fan and all.
Yeah, you're a huge Thor fan, man. So
yeah, like I think all of the movies, like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, I think they've all been like really good so far. I mean, there's not I would say was like bad.
You know, I was just thinking, you're such a Thor fan. You know what Thor would probably be an easy enough kind of run to piece together from a certain point upwards, minus a few like things like the Beta Ray Bill but there's a lot of those Thor books that you'll be very easy to get through the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
You should think about doing that, man. I think that'd be a cool thing to do. But then I could borrow them from you and read them.
Ulterior motive.
I have a Thor comic in my collection. I have a few, but my most prized Thor comic, I don't remember the issue number, but it's the first appearance of the New Warriors. So, Night Thrasher.
Yeah, they made their first appearance in Thor?
Yeah. Yeah, they sure did. They were there. They've yeah, they were in there. It was it Tom DeFalco and Ron Friends, I believe. I think we're doing it. Yeah.
Fighting the Juggernaut.
Yeah, they fought the Juggernaut, and Night Thrasher comes at him with the skateboard because that's what he does.
Remember when X-Force the Spider-Man fought the Juggernaut?
Yes, sideways and shit.
Yeah.
God damn, that shit pissed me off back then. Now I'm like, look at this. All of a sudden,
well,
I'm a mark for
made
Rob
the comic
Liefeld.
like Echolands, or Eden's Trail. They actually made the comic like
they would have bounded
formatted for that. It would have probably worked a little better, I think.
That's why
fucking do this shit.
That's why when you read New X-Men by Grant Morrison and you got to that issue and the annual, it worked because they bound it like that. But when you read it in the trades collected, you got to flip the fucking hardcover over. What's that like in an omnibus? That's got to be terrible. Like, Jesus. Anyway, lots of WandaVision love out there in the chat. So, what about you, Mike?
It's a toss-up between WandaVision and Hawkeye. I'm a big Hawkeye fan, so I mean, West Coast Avengers, Thunderbolts, So it's always fun to see Clinton Barton in action. But then again, I really like the WandaVision story just for this how the depth of that it explains so much, and it's so very visual, and it's a nice throwback to go back and see sitcoms from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and feel that nostalgia, and felt good.
Gotcha, man. Absolutely. Yeah, Albert, 100%. Way too many comics coming out this week. I'm gonna have to make some cuts this week in order to. I still got like 20 issues of Saga to read to do a show with Verno and Nick and Jen. So, really enjoyed Hawkeye. I liked Hawkeye. I thought it was pretty solid throughout. I gave it a 4 overall. Loki, I thought I would. We've done the rankings, but for me it was WandaVision, Loki, Hawkeye, Falcon Winter Soldier, and then What If, the biggest disappointment for me, because I wasn't really I don't know. I wasn't expecting much out of Black Widow. Wasn't expecting much out of Shang-Chi for me. I was expecting a little bit. I need to rewatch Shang-Chi. I was out of it that night. Anyway.
Black Widow's the biggest disappointment for me because it was fun. It was a fun film. It's forgettable as shit. I mean, aside from Yelena coming into the MCU, none of that film mattered. And I struggle to explain what the hell happened.
Yelena was better in Hawkeye than she was in Black Widow.
Yeah.
She was great in Hawkeye. I always forget that because we get caught up in the Kingpin discussion, but Yelena was really cool in Hawkeye, man. She was badass and funny. Her and Kate. Kate was great in that show, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Brooks, have you ever seen Beastmaster?
I have not, surprisingly.
Nice.
Like the only way I knew about it was that Community episode, the first Halloween episode where Pierce dresses up as the Beastmaster.
Yeah.
He says, I haven't even seen the movie Beastmaster. I just wanted you to think I was cool.
And Mike, you've seen it, right?
Yeah. I saw it when I was a kid, and then I saw it again, and it's been a while, but a lot was edited out during when you watch it back in the day on Fox or TBS.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that we'll see, but Dylan is supposed to be making a rare PCP movie night appearance for Beastmaster. But like I said, we will see. We shall see. You ever seen Beastmaster, Manny? You like that one?
Dude, I didn't even know it was a film. I had seen like the TV show. Used to be on like the same channel as Mortal Kombat Conquest.
I forgot about that shit.
Mortal Kombat Conquest.
Oh, I love that shit.
Oh, dude, I loved Mortal Kombat Conquest. If you tried to watch it though again, it is cringy as shit. But
somebody put that shit on YouTube one time, and I started watching it, man. And I was like, "This is fucking awesome."
I don't know why I felt like there was like a million episodes though. Like I felt like there was some deep mythology. Like I was trying to explain to somebody about the show. It's like one season or something, and yeah, it's good, but it's got those weird like 90 Cinemax vibes in certain spots. They're just like people like in slow motion walking at that kind of gauzy filter. It's like, oh, what the hell's gonna happen here? And then it's a letdown, just like, but yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Beastmaster's directed by Don Coscarelli.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the guy who did Phantasm. 1 through 4, not 5. So
is the tall man in it?
No, I don't think so.
Could the Beastmaster control the tall man?
Anyway, wasn't that a fun bit?
Mm-hmm.
That was a fun little
I'm
bit.
sure everybody loved it.
Yeah, somebody's probably like. My favorite one ever was the one where we got Brian so bad you could hear him like clicking his mouse, like he was trying to fix something on his screen. It was great. Yeah, Manny will be back in 2 weeks for Small Soldiers, man.
Oh, dude, I just watched that again. I watched that movie like.
Is that the Rodeo Burger movie?
Oh, dude, yes, absolutely, the Rodeo Burger movie, which I still will order if it's on the dollar menu. I'll still grab a Rodeo Burger. Although, have they always been that big? Or is that like just the way Burger
used to
King
be like
does?
Whopper size, right?
Everything's gotten smaller fast food wise, I would say. Even the tacos at Taco Bell have gotten smaller. Like, it's weird.
Oh, dude, because I can eat like those rodeo burgers or double cheeseburgers now at Burger King in like a bite and a half, So by my logic, that means I need to order like 10 of them every time I go, just to make sure I'm getting the right amount of food.
Yeah, get the right quota.
Well, it's bullshit is I buy it off the dollar menu because I don't want to spend $10 on a combo, but then I buy like 10 freaking things off the dollar menu.
Yeah, it makes you feel better cost wise, but not good when you're like after you're eating it all and you're just like, oh man, what did I do? Why did I do this again?
What have I done?
Still got nuggets in there, son of a.
Mike, did you happen to notice a message we got at work today addressed to you, the toy guy? It's in the email account. You need to check it out because, ironically enough, it's somebody trying to sell a collection of small soldiers on card.
Oh no! I saw the Star Wars one, but I did not see that one.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. I just thought that'd be neat. Small soldiers is a wild one. We got a really cool lineup coming up here on PCP Movie Night, man. Absolutely.
Small soldiers toys. I don't know. It seems like everyone I talk to loves them damn toys, but like. As I've been on Whatnot for the last 3 months, just being disgusting and just watching Whatnot for 3 months straight. Nobody ever asked for it. Beetleborgs. Everyone asked for like Beetleborgs. Nobody ever asked for small soldiers figures. Those figures were dope.
I'd like a set of the early Beetleborg figures. I got the virtual troopers, the VR troopers. I got those three main ones. I got those. I
have Ryan and I have like a bendy Caitlin. I don't, but I don't have any of the ones.
Hate them damn bendies.
I know it.
The banes of our existence.
It's always disappointing when you get them too, because like when I buy figures, I buy them like by the box load, right? And I'm like, oh, there's some VR troopers in there. Then I open them like, they're bendies. Yeah. Oh.
And you'd get them like for like your birthday or for Christmas because like your grandmother and your aunts and uncles who don't know shit about shit just know that you want a fucking Ninja Turtle toy.
Yep.
So you wind up with a bendy fucking Donatello.
Oh, dude, I almost bought a TMNT toy I have never seen before today. Did you know that the movie Ninja Turtles 3, the movie figures, there's the horse. You can get like a horse from that film.
Okay.
Armored horse, like they'd ride. And then there's also like all the little. I didn't know that they made the little guy, the actual guys that trade places with them and go to the future.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know that those figures existed.
You guys hung out with Casey Jones?
Oh yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm bidding and they got to like $25 and I was like, no, because I can't flip it then. Or if I want to flip it, I'm gonna spend too much. So
I had the Leo from that set and I loved it because it had the removable mask, right?
Dude.
Like I loved that. I thought that was cool. That was the only one I ever had from that though.
Raph's is dope because he's like his stuff's like all gold. Like
cool.
It's a really cool figure, really cool. But it's hard to find good ones because the gold paint is all.
What's the
off.
one?
Silverhawks had the same thing.
Yeah.
And if you get a Silverhawks out of the box, it's bound to be scuffed as fuck.
Oh yeah.
Unless you're like super lucky.
That's why like if you find them in really good condition, they're super fucking expensive, and they're really expensive on card too. Like to the point where if you ever bought them on card, you'd never want to open them. And like I have so few pieces from that line. I just want to fall ass backwards into some beat up, but with at least the wings. I can find the birds and shit later. Yeah. Or you can even find the wings later. You can piece it together. That's what me and Mike did. We with the Quicksilver I got. We got the bird from one place. We got the figure from one place, and it's scuffed up. And we got the wings from another place.
They're gonna be out there, man. There's gonna be like some yard sale one day. You're gonna find just an immaculate set.
I don't go to those things, man.
Oh, dude, I can't help myself. If I pass a garage sale, I stop. Yeah, even if I can see from the road that there's nothing I'm interested in, and I stop. I have to stop.
Here's a good question then. What is the one Ninja Turtle toy? From the Playmates era in particular, like what's the one that you say you always wanted but never got and still never got? For me, it's the Krang body, the big Krang body. Like I still want the fuck out of that.
You know what I never had my own. All my cousins did, everyone did, and I always wanted one was the Lair. I always wanted the Lair growing up. That was such a dope set.
Yeah, I had the sewer, but I didn't have the Technodrome, which I always wanted. Still would love that, but that sewer playset was awesome, man. That was a cool one.
Well, and now that they're releasing all the vintage toys again, the molds, and they're not doing the Motu thing. They're not like changing the articulation or anything. They're just at 1-for-1.
This has been their business plan for what, 30 years?
And Planet Turtles will always come back.
Yeah. So like
I really
saw
hope
the
they do
van
the
out.
lair.
Oh, I saw the van in the store the other day. I was like, oh, that it's coming.
Dude,
it's coming.
I hope they do the Technodrome. Like, please. Like, I would be cool with the redone Technodrome. Like I got with my Ecto 1. Like, I'm cool having it, and it would be like very close. That would be awesome, man. I'm cool with that,
dude.
And I do need a Bebop and Rocksteady, so maybe I should pick those up.
Did you see the Walmart 2-packs now that they have a Bebop, Rocksteady, and then I think it's Michelangelo and Leo. They're like better articulation. They're bigger scale, like 9-inch scale or whatever, but they're really cool looking figures.
They're like like the cartoon, pretty much.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about you, Brooks? What's the TMNT figure you never got that you still want?
I never had the Turtle Van, oddly enough. That was one I always wanted. I had the Turtle Blimp, and I had the Pizza Thrower. And the Pizza Thrower was my favorite.
I had that fucking
pizza thrower. I ran out of pizzas.
Yeah, you lose them.
Yeah, because like the pizzas are gone. I'm like, well, fuck. What do I do now? But up till I lost all the pizzas, like the Pizza Thrower was like probably my favorite Turtles vehicle.
It was fun. It was like motorized, right? Like mechanical. Yeah. It was like spit them out and shit. I had that, and I remember the box having Leatherhead on it. I think I bought Leatherhead that same day, or got Leatherhead that same day. That was a good one.
Got to recreate the box art.
You know it, man. I wish I still had all that shit, but where would we put it? What about you, Mike?
I never had. I guess I never had Casey, Splinter, or Metalhead. So one of those three would be the ones that I want. But I guess I'm not really doing those right now. So it's just kind of like I'm happy with having the 4. So.
Yeah. I don't mind when they happen to come in. It's not like an active thing, right? You know, for me, like I like it when I can get a hold of some, but I don't. It's like not as important to me as something as like, so right now the Motu stuff, even though I haven't really gotten anything from Motu in a long time. I've been focused too much on the new. I told myself I wouldn't fucking do that. God damn. I have been buying those old Toy Biz though. That's where I've been focusing my vintage into.
So are y'all familiar with the Terradrome Scout?
The little tiny one?
The little.
Yeah, the little tiny one. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I never had that.
We had some guy come in this last Saturday with 2 of them in pieces, but nothing like they weren't complete. And it was just like, and I was tired. He had a whole bunch of turtle stuff, and I just told him it's like you're missing all. Like you said, this is this other place. Go get it and bring it back. So, like, just bring it all together, and I'll buy it.
That's a problem with buying vintage turtle stuff is they all come with so many pieces, man. It's hard.
Just like this dude's like, oh yeah, this is what I got out of my storage unit, and I got another couple of boxes at my grandmother's houses, and I know these stuff's in my grandmother's house. I'm like, well, go get the stuff from your grandmother's house, and then we'll talk.
Yeah. With the turtle stuff, like when I committed to getting the 4, at least the 4 originals in some form or fashion, I was like, all I care is that they have 2 of each weapon. Like, that's all I care about. I don't care about any of the other shit. I just want the turtle, its belt, and 2 of each weapon. So, and I got them like that. So that was awesome.
Gosh, the belts are the freaking bane of my existence, is finding them damn belts. Because the weapons, because they're just that same matte orange, like you find those 3D printed aftermarket all over the place. But the damn belts, I can never find really good, convincing aftermarket belts.
Yeah, and they don't like hold up very well. They're usually broken.
And Donatello and Leonardo's were probably like the ones most likely to be damaged. Yeah. Like Raphael's and Michelangelo's, not so much, but it's hard to find especially a Donatello with the belt entirely intact.
Yeah. Leo was the one that was messed up on mine, and then I was able to get a replacement belt for it. So, thanks to Mike, of course.
You're welcome.
Yeah. It's fun talking about turtle toys, isn't it?
I love turtle toys. I don't like what they're going for right now. Like prices are even at swaps. It's like I don't know what the hell happened. All this because, like I said, the vintage ones are out at Walmart now. Like if I really want a vintage, any of them, they're $12 at Walmart right now. But they're nuts right now at swaps and stuff. At least
What all
up
have
here.
they?
only have Leos and Michelangelos right
What
now.
all? What all have they done? Just the 4?
Just the 4, and then
then
the van.
Yeah.
And then the previews did the Foot Soldier, Splinter, the Evil Turtle,
Oh, in the box set.
and the box set.
Now, if they put them on like shelves at like Walmart, these $12 repros, right? And they are just repros, right? Like
Yeah.
they match up, right? I'm sure. But if they released like the next waves, like I would totally start getting some of those, right? And I would get like 4 or 5 foot soldiers if I could.
That's what I would
finally do that.
I would not mind. Well, the movie ones, with the gray suits, I wouldn't mind building an army of those, but those are hard. Those are hard to find, especially without the red or the eyes being rubbed off. You know.
I got one, and I don't think I have any of his weapons, but it's a really cool, badass figure, man.
Oh yeah, this guy. I'd love to build an army of these guys, but like I said, they're tough to come by. Nobody wants to part with them at a reasonable price or even a reasonable trade. Always want figures that's like, nah, I'm not giving that up. I'm not giving up.
I really want the 4 original movie turtles from Playmates, and like I had a chance like a few years ago, and I passed it up, and I really fucking regret it, man.
Oh, dude, those movie star ones are legit.
God, I love them.
Oh, I only have the one right close, but I just grabbed this Mikey not too long ago from the movie star ones.
Nice.
But he's got some dings.
I think I do have one of them, but it's missing all of its shit, I think. Maybe it's a Raph. I don't remember. Maybe I'm thinking something else.
I like Mikey and I like Raph. Donatello's got too many of them damn spots all. And I know the character does in the movies, but like I don't like it in the toy because they're like obtrusive all over the
Why
face.
are you hating just because of his freckles, man? Come on.
Dude, he's got
We don't do that around here, man.
Oh, everywhere. So Yep.
Do. The mask vehicles were cool. Those are hard to come by nowadays for me.
Did they ever make Ninja Turtles toys based on that Next Mutation show?
Yeah, I think they did. Because I remember there was a Venus de Milo. Yeah. And there's the other cool thing is there was I've seen it. There's a store down in Florida that had a few of them, which is so weird. But it's the turtle van, but it's the news channel van. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they like recolored it and packaged it, and it's April O'Neil's like van, and that I always would love to get a hold of that randomly one day. Didn't one come in one day?
Vernon or Irma figures.
They did.
Really?
Like they had, and they did the what are the neutrinos, and they're pretty fucking expensive.
Yeah,
we had those come in on some of those come in on card. I remember, Mike. Didn't someone bring in that news channel van one time, but we weren't able to make a deal?
I don't remember that, but I remember the neutrinos on card.
Yeah,
and all that stuff on card. I might have not been there for the news van.
Gotcha. Oh, that's what happens, man. That's what happens. Y'all looking forward to anything?
March.
No. March? Yeah. Gotcha. Mike's going back on tour?
Yeah.
So I'll be in your area for a day, Manny.
Yep. I gotta take the day off. Go hit up some spots.
Instead of Big Herm or Fabler here, I'll be in Webster Hall in the East Village. So I don't know how far I am going to be from those guys. So, but yeah. It's just one of those. Let me Google it real quick. Or I don't have to Google it. I got it right here. I was trying to think of where we're going to be in your neck of the woods. The Varsity Theater. I'm not familiar with that one.
Is it I think it's in Uptown. Everything in Minnesota. I mean, everything from me is about 35, 45 minutes. Really doesn't matter where I'm like smack dab in the middle of the state. So, and then like Duluth, all the big places are all like an hour and a half. So nothing is super far. So,
Well, I was up there. I was up there in 2019 for like 3 days, so I got to know that. Okay, that is over there. That's over there by the University of Minnesota.
okay. Yep.
Yeah. So. Yeah,
Nice.
I know where that is.
That'll
Hey,
be
sweet. That's not too bad. I'm trying to think.
Very cool. Making plans here on the string. Very
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah,
Riveting
yeah.
entertainment.
Where's that?
Extremely professional.
Where's that? What's that big ass church you have up there? Like the huge church.
the St. Peter's Basilica.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really not that far either. That's right over by the Walker Art Museum, and so from University, it's really not that far at all.
Riveting. Love it.
So,
All right.
Yeah.
Brooks, did you hear that Spider-Man's getting relaunched with the new #1? Amazing
No.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
Hmm.
Relaunched in April.
Is it going to be Peter or is it going to be Ben?
It's going to be Peter. It's going to be written by Zeb Wells and artwork by, get this, new idea. Never done Spider-Man before. John Romita Jr.
oh my gosh, I think I've heard of that name before. Young
They
up
do a
and comer,
separate
right?
Ben book.
Well, they're doing a Ben Reilly Spider-Man book that launches this week, but it's set back in the 90s Clone Saga-ish days. And it's by J.M. DeMatteis. I'm really excited to check that out. I mean, we all knew that it was temporary. Ben's never Spider-Man forever. Come on. Oh, Peter's in a coma. Ben's Spider-Man. Yeah, they're going to
Will
ride this
Peter
for a while.
recover?
Yeah, and so they get a new #1, and then right around the corner from that will be a 900 issue celebration somewhere coming. So
I know you. I know you're not still reading the ASM run, but this last issue with Ben was pretty fucking sad.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
everybody said that shit about Supernatural too, and I made it through like 7 seasons till I realized they were all just full of shit.
Hey, you ready
the
for
first
me?
5 seasons of Supernatural are good. My brother will say that's almost every time he's on. Like that's like some families play Monopoly and they don't talk for like 2 weeks. That's me and my brother talking about Supernatural. He adores all 15 seasons. Yeah,
I only made it through the first 3.
Better man than me.
So,
Better man than me. Brooks, you like Supernatural?
I've never watched it. Mainly because, like, by the time I noticed it, there were already so many episodes. It seemed like it would just take forever to watch, so I just never did.
No shit.
Like, I heard it was good, but, like, I just didn't want to commit that much time to watching, a TV show.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Brooks would be like, that show's amazing.
I don't know, man. I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think so. I think Brooks would get more enjoyment out of fucking revisiting that shitty Highlander show.
Oh, Highlander. Which one though? Highlander the show or the Raven?
What? There's 2?
Yeah, there's the female Highlander show.
Oh no, I just know the one from that wound up in Endgame.
Yeah.
Show.
Endgame. What the fuck was
Duncan.
that? I mean, we definitely going to do a franchise review of Highlander one day.
Oh.
I need to own every single. I used to own every one on DVD. I need to get them all on Blu-ray. I wonder if there's a set. Because they're not only the first one's it's the only one that's good. The Renegade cut of 2 is workable.
Watchable, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I watched the hell out of the shitty Highlander show because it was my first introduction. Like I didn't start with the films. I started with Duncan MacLeod. It's like
I've never really watched it. I mean, I tried. It was one of those things I would try to watch when I was a kid, but I just could never get into it. I couldn't make sense of it. Like I didn't understand where we were in the timeline. Like I don't know. I just something about it I never got into. But I just weird stripes on people that like that show. Because the people that like that show, they fucking love that show, man.
Dude, I think Endgame was probably the first time I watched a film and was pissed off because it felt like it was like a sci-fi channel original movie. Like it definitely felt like this was just a continuation of the TV show on the same budget. Like it was not good.
Yeah, exactly. I watched that shit in the theater. I remember John bitching about the sound. He was like, "This is a state-of-the-art movie theater."
John bitching about the sound.
It's like, "This is a state-of-the-art movie theater, and the sound they gave us was shit for it. The shit for it." It's fun, man. It's fun. All right, it's time for the show and tell portion of the programs. Kicking us off tonight will be me. And the first thing I want to show off is I got a trimmer figure from the first wave of Spawn. And this one's going to get opened up one day. So
you got Mr. T, Garden Grayskull back there.
Yes, Mr. T. And there's my on-card Gideon figure. Y'all watch out for this dude. He's going to be big. I would encourage everybody to get his first appearance right now. New Mutants 98. You should totally dig up on some Gideon. EC Archives, paperback editions, affordable $20 versions of these being released by Dark Horse. That's the first volume of Weird Science. I'll once again show my Nocturnals Omnibus Volume 1 from Dan Barrington. Loved this stuff back from Oni Press in the 90s, so I'm excited to dive back into that. Beautiful, beautiful artwork. I wanted to go first because I didn't want anybody to steal my thunder on some of these because some of us probably have some of the same little things here. But in honor of Mario, there's a Mario action figure I have that was given to me by my buddy Brooks. I have a Luigi, but
you should have a Luigi too, because I remember giving you both.
Yeah, I have the Luigi, but he's somewhere else. Speaking of Luigi, I got this little dude. Y'all remember that? Was this Super Mario World or was this Mario 3? This is Mario 3.
Mario 3. Yeah.
Mario 3. So I got that little dude along with that. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And one of my favorite ones.
Mario.
That's what a fucking
I love that guy.
Yeah. Love it. So that's what I have. And one more thing, a special message to everybody. All right. Next up, Brooks, show us what you've got.
Well, I pulled this off of the shelf for this special occasion. The collection of the comic from that ran in Nintendo Power back in the day.
Hell yeah.
The collection, this is a really good story actually, and I think my favorite part about it was that Princess Toadstool was actually kind of a badass in this book. She actually fights and shit, at least in the first story. But yeah, I think you guys have it available up at the shop right now.
Yeah, we sell it all the time. It's a constant seller. Every week it's selling.
Yeah, my copy is old as fuck. It's all scuffed and shit. But
yeah, can't get people to read fucking superhero comics or some of the really good indies, but they'll buy the shit out of a Mario comic.
Yeah, I wonder if did they ever collect the Valiant Mario comics that came out way back when?
I don't know if they did, man. I wonder who would have the licensing rights for that. There should be a Mario comic, man. With the new movie coming out, there's gonna be a wave of it.
Yeah, I mean, why not? They have Sonic comics. Why not Mario? And here's something that I got special for Christmas. It's a upside down. It's a art book of some guy, some Junji Ito.
Oh.
But he has some some pretty crazy stuff in there. I think he's a horror guy. I think.
Yeah, oh, look at that's Lovecraft right there.
Yeah, I just read Uzumaki, and that's very Lovecraftian. The whole idea of a town haunted by spirals.
That's a very nice book.
Yeah, it is.
You're very lucky to have it.
Yeah. Thanks to the guy that got it for me.
I don't know who that could possibly be. You should read some more of his work, man. I just read Censor, and it was interesting. But Dissolving Classroom, man, read that shit.
I'll probably check out Romina next, and then see where it goes from there.
That's the next one I'm checking out. Oh. Are we best friends again?
That got me this is one of my art books of it's actually called Uzumaki, but it's not that Uzumaki. It's like the Naruto Uzumaki. It's basically like art book from the creator of Naruto. Like, it's got a lot of like cool like cover images and stuff like that. And there's one more art book I have from like way back in the day. This was a guy who did the character designs for that Neon Genesis Evangelion. It's like a collection of his works. There's like some from that Nadia.
Nice.
Yeah, here's a good one. Like a Evangelion, like with its skin peeling off. Yeah, I was like super into Evangelion back in the day, you might remember. So of course I had to have that.
Hell yeah.
Last of all, like I've been diving back into a certain manga, and I found these figures.
Nice.
And Kaneda.
Hell yeah. Those are McFarlane, right?
Yeah. Like I have the Akira and the Joker too, but like they're in a different box. I haven't stumbled on them yet.
I remember you used to have those displayed up in your living room, man.
Yeah, I need to find a spot for them. I wish I'd have gotten the Kaneda with the bike.
Oh yeah, that shit was dope. Speaking of dope and with the bike, Mike, show and tell. Show us what you've got.
I've got the Kaneda on bike somewhere. I don't know where it is. And I
thought you were about to pull it out like, here it is, motherfucker.
No, it's some. I gotta find it. I guess if we're gonna stick to if we're showing off stuff that we had for Mario, I've got my Mario 3 box, which sits back here next to the Tetris box, and then I've got my original, the Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt and World Class Track Meet. So, then
Wow, you had the triple game pack.
yeah.
Did you have the pad, the power pad?
Yes, it's so I couldn't find my Nintendo stuff, and I can't find. I was looking for the Super Mario Brothers 3 cartridge, and I thought it might be in the Nintendo, but Excite Bike's in there. So I just got to find where all that stuff got. It all got rearranged. It's wherever my. It's where my Super Nintendo and PlayStation are. PlayStation 1, I should say. So, these came out. These have been coming in and out a few weeks. I got my G.I. Joe bat with the Valve-verse guns and the Alley Viper. So, everybody's looking for these right now, so be nice to your Target, Walgreens, and Walmart employees. So, they're super dope. But yeah, that's what I got.
Nice.
That's
And
awesome.
wrapping up show and tell, the main man, Manny.
So, dude, my Mario Brothers stuff's pretty limited. Got the little 8-bit Mario, Donkey Kong. There's a cardboard diorama for them, but if I take that out, it causes an avalanche of stuff. So I just grabbed what I could off the Mario shelf. So a lot of these McDonald's, more recent from Super Mario Brothers Odyssey.
Those are cool, man.
Oh, dude, I like them. They're as far as like McDonald's toys for just figurines. I think that the sculpts look pretty good. And then if you're ever just walking through the check lanes at Target, you can get these little bastards for like $6 or whatever they are. Usually sitting next to the Disney princesses, which are also a fun line if you're so inclined. And then I got a bunch of stuff from Cryo Prime. I'm just gonna show off a couple of cool things. I got a McDonald's Mighty Ducks hockey puck.
Nice.
This thing is Duke L'Orange, my favorite of the Mighty Ducks. I got a bootleg repacked in the wrong package.
Nice.
Of Duke L'Orange. And then I got the actual legit Duke L'Orange that goes for that same package.
Bruh.
Dude, he like sat on an auction in Spain, like an auction in Spain, and then had this shipped in from Spain.
That's awesome.
To get for me, dude. Cryo's the man, dude. So big shout out Cryo for that. And then Eric the Stash Durant's got me Rhinox from Beast Wars because that's my favorite Beast Wars character. And then Cryo sent me the next evolution of Rhinox from the Beast Machines show. So he sent me Tankor. So
Very cool.
Yeah, very, very dope. So that's what I got. That's what
nice. I got. Albert says, McDonald's is phasing out plastic toys by 2024. I get my kids Happy Meals every Friday night, and they're putting paper toys in the Happy Meals. Oh my God.
Yeah, we would have rioted back in the day.
I still love. I mean, obviously, I love this shit, man. Mike knows. Mike's always like, "Hey, man, what Fraggle Rocks do you need?" It's the eggplant. I think it's the eggplant. No, it's the carrot. It's the carrot.
Well, I still have a bunch of that stuff here I haven't been through.
Nice.
So, like I know where the box is, but I just didn't have enough. I was like, oh man, I should have got that box, but by the time I get to it and get back, like it would have been too late.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. And this is the way the show goes. So thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight for the Super Mario Brothers movie review and for the PCP Backchat. And do remember to join us this upcoming Saturday night over at Dylan's Horror Show for a Scream 5 discussion. And next week, be back here for PCP Movie Night. We're talking about Don Coscarelli's Beastmaster. Very excited for that. Manny, thank you for being here. Final thoughts?
Station. Spay and neuter your pets. Keep your stick on the ice. And Station. We got Whiplash Wednesday coming up. There's gonna be some awesome stuff from a bunch of awesome people. It starts your day off right with the weekly comic book review from Robbie and Verno's weekly comic book review. So make sure you hit those up in the morning, and then check out Comics Kings and all the Whiplash guys. There's a lot of great shit coming out this week. So
that's right. Verno's trying to inch in on my fucking territory. Gotta have a chat with him.
I feel like he intentionally though picks like a pick of the week that's like a book that you said you didn't dig on, because it seems like more weeks than not you're like yeah, it was okay, I didn't really like it, and Verno's like, this is my pick of the week and it's so awesome. So
hey, that's the point of it, right? It's all about our opinions and our subjective thoughts, right? Mike, thanks for being here. Final thoughts?
Yeah, so we were talking at work today real quick, and we just discovered that there are very few and not many Funko Pop Nintendo products outside of Pokemon. Because we were like, hey, have they done Mario yet? Or like Metroid? Like, no, I don't think so. And no, they haven't done it. So, like, could you imagine a Mario, like Super Mario Brothers Funko Pops? Like all the different ones they could do?
And then a line of them that are amiibos. I don't know. Do people still amiibo? Is that still a thing?
I don't know. I think that's a game, but I'll do the.
I think they still make them, but like.
I think they're like
games that are compatible with them anymore. So
I think they're like Funko. We don't need any help with merchandising, but they'll eventually do them because that's just what Funko Pop does.
I'll buy Funko over Amiibo. So
Funko Pop is actually kind of like this. It operates as a virus. If you notice, it just kind of self-replicates and it's starting to consume.
You're surrounded by a bunch of dead-eyed pieces of vinyl staring at you.
You know it, buddy. That's the way it's going to go. But yeah, you're right, Mike. Is that your final thought? Oh. Yeah, weird stretch.
Yep, that's my final thought.
Nice. Brooks, thanks for being here. Final thoughts.
Even got the onion.
Just always be sure to treat your plumbers right, because one day your life may depend on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And and thank you, everybody. Thanks for rocking with us. Thanks for checking it out. Beastmaster next week. I'm rocking Robbie Bills. Station. Pop, pop, boom.